Today's podcast is brought to you by our friends at SeatGeek and Hoobie. All right, what's up, guys? We're here with the hosts of the We Might Be Drunk podcast, Mark and Sam, Normand, Sam Morril. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Good to be here on the casting couch. They're a little sticky.
These chairs and the grapes. I feel like you're a therapist who molests us. That's the vibe.
Right. I know. I feel like a sexy astronaut in this thing.
We went right there right away. I love you guys on local news.
Oh, we hate it. So we try to get as crazy as possible. COVID kind of screwed it up a little bit.
I'm very happy to be here with you too.
All right. Sorry, just hiding my erection. But
what happens is these guys, you got to go do a gig in town, right, in Cleveland or wherever, and then you have to go do local news that morning because you're stand-ups.
They don't really ask us to do it anymore, but years ago it was required. So now I would kind of look forward to it, honestly.
Right.
But back in the day when they forced you to do it, you're like, ugh. So you make a scene.
And what did you say on yours?
The one that got me thrown off Pittsburgh Today Live, and the person who runs the Improv saw me in L.A. recently and said, "You're the reason we don't have comics on morning TV anymore."
Hey, thank you.
Because
that's a service.
I was there on like 2 hours sleep, and you're in a cranky mood, and they just keep asking you the same predictable questions that you've answered a million, like nothing, like to the point that you're like, you read one line on Wikipedia. You had nothing interesting to ask, and they said something like, have you always been funny?
Why are you so funny?
Why?
Yeah, like where did you get your funny from? Did you get it from your parents?
And I just, that's when I was just like, yeah, fuck this. So I said, no, when I was young, my uncle molested me and he was funny. So I got his powers like a Spider-Man origin story. And there's just like an awkward silence, and you hear one camera guy in the back laughing, and the woman goes, okay then. Okay then. And that it weirdly sold a lot of tickets. So I'm like, you want to sell some tickets?
It helps.
Cause a scene. Because it's not our audience.
No.
They want us to do that. Like maybe some morning radio rock channel, like we'll get some of our people out, but that's not for us.
No. And it's weird because they want you to be funny, and then when you are funny, they freak out. They want you to be their funny.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not my funny.
I watched one of yours too. Yours was pretty good. Like it was like laughter, but then you'd be really funny and no one would laugh.
Yeah.
And then how do you work through that? You just
It's like he
power
said,
through?
you just hate it so much that you don't care. You know, it's like being on a date with a really unattractive lady where you're like, I don't care how this goes. I'll and you're cool. You're smoothest and funniest then. But when you're with a girl you're obsessed with, you choke up. You know.
What's an arena like? What's that like to do an arena?
I don't love it. I don't find. I mean, it's a great experience. I'm grateful I did it. Yada yada. But it's not great for comedy because comedy should be like a conversation. You say line, they laugh. You say line, they laugh. It's like this back and forth kind of almost like a heartbeat thing. But with the arena, it's like you throw out a line and they go, then you wait and you throw out another line and there's no connection.
There's no connection. It's like fucking a vapid model where you're like, this is cool, but I don't deserve this. And we're not connecting. And I'm just thinking how I don't deserve it.
That I would
like
still
if she touches
prefer I would take that still. But
yeah, me too. I didn't mean to get rid of that as a whole.
whole.
But you're doing well. They're laughing.
Yeah.
But it's not the same.
Yeah. No. Well, when Mark and I were doing that, we were opening for someone bigger, so it was their crowd. So Mark, Amy, we've both done it with who else?
Louis, all these people.
So when you're opening for those people, you're playing to a huge crowd, but it's not your crowd. And I would much rather perform in a much smaller venue for people that are there for me. I mean, the goal is for us to be the show.
Good point.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, but these morning shows, that's the beauty of the internet because we've both done upwards of 10 late nights, Tonight Show, Conan, Colbert, all this stuff. And I got more buzz off that Cleveland show than I did any late night I've done.
Really?
Well, that's the only way someone watches one of those local shows. Is that if you make a scene.
Yeah.
Like if you're just being like, yes, it is good to be in Cleveland. No one gives a shit.
Right.
But if you say something about getting molested, people are like, wait, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. I got a queef in, which I had to fight for because apparently that's on the line.
I saw that one.
All right.
You talked about queefing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like, I don't know if you could say that on 10 a.m. morning TV.
But they kept it in.
Yeah, they did.
And some nerd put it on YouTube and it just popped. So
When they say, like, I don't know if you could say this word, we're all adults. What are we doing here? Like,
strange.
You know, it's like I remember on Fallon, I fought to get the word cocaine on.
Jesus.
Not that I do cocaine. I just used the word cocaine was important for the bit. I had to say the word cocaine.
Yeah.
And they were like, "You're the first non-famous person to get the word cocaine on." I was
That's
like,
terrible to say to you.
"Thanks."
Meanwhile, the green room's full of coke residue from Van Halen the night before, whoever the hell, and we can't say it. It's a strange business.
Right.
Yeah.
None of it makes sense.
And when you guys would do Colbert or Conan, or did you have any terrible experiences there? Or did anything go wrong, or was it all smooth?
I've had brain farts up there, you know. I've had I had a few bombs. I've definitely had some flubs, you know, or because
Right.
it's a tightrope. You get 5 minutes, you get one shot. That's kind of the magic of it.
Right.
And if you flub, if you say instead of TV, you say TV, you're fucked, you know. And then you got to like get it together in the moment in real time. It's a trip.
What do you guys think about? Because I guess I discovered you both over COVID.
Wow, how about that?
I mean, I saw you taped your special at the Hayworth, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a club right near my house.
Really?
Yeah, I go by there all the time. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's like a really good comic that's just fucking doing it himself at the Hayworth, which isn't.
Story behind that is I actually sold it out, which was rare for me at that time. And so I said, well, we sold out 2 shows. Let's film this one because we're not going to get a sellout everywhere. And it's a cute
So wait a
little
minute,
theater.
you couldn't even sell out the Hayworth back then? 2 years ago?
Mark is being modest.
This is two plus years ago.
Right.
So
What is it, 300 people?
less.
Yeah, less.
200 a show, probably.
Yeah, probably till we
Mark
did 2.
is being modest right now. That's untrue.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Let him be
a
modest.
sellout was a big deal back. Like now, I feel like we sell out more regularly.
Right.
But back then, it was like, oh, we sold out, and it was a little theater. That's what I mean. That's what
Right.
kind of it looked nice. It had a curtain and seats and lights and the whole thing. So that's why we shot it there. And it went a little rocky. If you listen to the special, I'm not murdering.
I watched.
Yeah, you are.
I was going to say that. I didn't want to insult you.
Really?
No. I mean, it went well. I mean, we got a good
special
special.
itself it's really charming because he comes out and you're like.
I found it to be quaint myself.
No. You're like, oh, what the hell is this? It's not a big production. And then he starts, and you're like, okay. And the crowd is not. It takes the crowd 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So then they're like fucking dying.
Well, I would describe the theater as precious. You know, it's got like a little hipstery,
That's why.
little
That's exactly
cute
why.
vibe.
Yes.
And my material is I open up with school shooting, then it's pedophilia, then it's fat people. So like they were, I think in L.A. too. They're like, whoa, what's this guy doing?
Yeah.
But they came around.
Only in LA are they more offended by the school shooting than fat people.
Exactly.
And then I watched yours last night
Okay.
at the Comedy Cellar.
Yeah,
The one
I
of
did.
the-
I got this was at the Comedy Cellar. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Unreal.
There are these gangs that'll post pictures of really hot women, and then you show up on the date and they just rob and beat the shit out of you. That's got to be a bummer. Because it already sucks when it doesn't look like the picture. That's got to suck extra. You show up for your date at 2 a.m. at the bridge, and 8 dudes are walking toward you, and you're like, Kathleen?
What is your worst? I hate to ask you this, but I love these stories so much. What's like your worst gig or your worst time on the road, or was there anything horrible that happened to you, or worst set?
So many. Let me go through the Rolodex here.
Yeah, there are a lot. I mean, I've always said, like, if you don't break down a few times, you're not doing enough sets. You know, if you don't have a complete mental breakdown.
Yeah. Today's podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. Yes, SeatGeek is an amazing company where you can get tickets to almost anything. My God, I just love SeatGeek so much. I've seen so many shows through SeatGeek. I've seen Panic at the Disco. I've seen Vampire Weekend. I've seen Tyler the Creator. I've seen 21 Pilots. And no, I'm not that cool, but my kids are. And I love using SeatGeek. It's an amazing app. You can get tickets last minute. You can get great seats last minute at a great price. And if you use my code NASH right now, you get $20 off your first order. Go to the link in the description. Code NASH, $20 off your first order. It's incredible. Yeah, so thank you for SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. And our second sponsor today is Hoobie. Yes, who.com. BHOO.BE. Hoobie is an amazing company that's doing really cool things. Basically, what Hoobie does is they put all your links in one place. So for like me, I'm doing the podcast, I'm doing YouTube videos, I'm doing Nash Nation. Well, thanks to Hoobie, I have my Hoobie link at the top of my Instagram bio. It's right here. And everything looks so cool. Everything looks so bright. It gets people excited about what you're doing. You just look cool and people want to work with you. So it doesn't matter if you're a photographer, if you're a chef, if you're a real estate agent. You want to sign up for Hoobie so you can have all your links in one place. Guys, go to the link in the description right now and check out Hoobie and sign up today. Was you robbed in New Orleans or something, or Cleveland? Or
Was I robbed?
Yeah, or almost robbed?
I was handcuffed in New Orleans. That's a bit. I was handcuffed in New Orleans. I wasn't robbed in Cleveland. I was rescued by a vigilante.
Why are all your stories from Cleveland?
I have one story from Cleveland.
And don't you have shit that happened in
No,
Cleveland?
he was
I got the morning show.
Oh, the morning show. Okay.
Cleveland was great for me.
Oh, it's good.
I love Cleveland.
Cleveland rocks.
I've had Hilarities is one of my favorite clubs in the country.
Great club.
You got, what happened?
I got so stupid. I basically was flirting. I was young. I was very young. I was a very young comic, and I was flirting with a woman after the show, and she was there with a guy who wasn't. He wasn't dating her, but he was like with her at the show. Mm-hmm. So he was like, I think he thought he had a chance. But you're on stage and you're still at the venue. You got a leg up. Once we leave the venue, I lose that, I think. But at the venue, you still kind of got a leg up. So I was like, I think I got a shot. We kind of ditch him. We're making out outside. I remember. Then we're at a bar. We're doing shots. We're making out. And I'm like, I'm home free. We're going back to my hotel. I'm gonna get laid. This is great. Young comic on the road, in a decent hotel for once. And as I'm leaving, I remember he's just right outside. He goes, "There you guys are." And I'm like, "Oh shit." And he wanted to fight me. What basically happened, which is true, it's in the story, this weird vigilante guy came to my aid.
Oh, yeah. Right.
The White Knight. So nothing happened. But he did. I mean, the guy was like nuts. He was out of his, and he just texted me, the crazy guy. I don't know how he had my number.
Whoa.
But he got my number, and he's like, we should get I saw this story, it's great, we should get a drink sometime. I'm like, you tried to fucking kill me last time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, fame will do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like someone finds out that, this guy's got some fame, and now we can hang out.
Very little. But he's in the story, so I think he's like, like, this is something.
Yeah,
but I'm so fucking, I'm about to burn another hour that I'm so desperate for material. I'm like, fuck it, maybe I'll meet him.
Yeah.
You're doing another hour.
Yeah.
And what about you? When's your X hour?
He just did a half hour.
You just
Netflix.
did a half hour.
For Netflix. So I'm kind of back to the drawing board. But I got a good 40, 35,
Do you really
40.
already?
I mean, it's 30 of it's good, 15 is weak, but it's getting me through the road sets. So, but I'm cranking it out. I'm in a good clip right now.
You on the road a lot now?
Every weekend.
You do one club 5 times or something? Or
Yeah, Thursday, 1 show, Friday, 2, Saturday, 2. And if you sell out, you had another one on Sunday.
I did, I was in East Brunswick last summer.
Quit bragging.
For 5 shows. I don't know
Stress
how.
Factory?
Yeah. I don't know how you do it.
Really?
That's
Because
fun.
normally what I would do is
That's a decent club, too.
when I would do YouTube, I would just do one show and that's it. And it wasn't what you guys do. It's like, there's jokes, but it's mostly stories about YouTube. They want to come and hear about what I did on YouTube. And it was great. It was fun. I do a meet and greet out. You're looking at me with disdain. You're like, I can't believe this fucking guy.
That's just his eyebrows.
No, but it was great. So you do one show. Like I'd go to Austin, play 300 people, fine. And then you do the meet and greet after. I'm happy. I go to dinner. But to go, and they call me. They're like, yeah, you're going to do it like a real comic, like 5 nights. Was it a show Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday? Did I do Sunday? No, I didn't even have to do Sunday, and even that was just too much.
I see. That's the
How the
thing.
fuck
we
do you
like
do
it.
that?
You learn to love it. I mean, you just learn to you kind of trick yourself into thinking it's like good for you. It is good for you. As if you want to run the jokes into the ground till you're so sick of them that you're like, please let me never tell this fucking joke again. So yeah, I don't grow as a comic in these city sets where I'm doing 15 minutes. I need an hour to fuck around because you get so sick of the jokes that you just start throwing new shit in, and that new shit ends up being the next hour. So I need an hour. So reps for me as a comic are important.
And what do you do all day when you're at the club? Like, let's say you're there Friday, you do your Friday night show. Now all day Saturday, what do you do? Just fucking
Well, it depends, but I'm like a
masturbate, or
I'm a ninja. I'm a master at wasting time. I can waste a day. I can go walk around. I got podcasts. I got the internet. I can write. I can see the city.
Right.
I can have a couple beers.
you love it.
I love it. And then you get the whole day off, then you work a little at night, and I see each set, you're like, all right, I got 5 sets, where other people see that as daunting. I see that as, all right, I got 5 chances to make this better.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way you got to look at it.
And now you'll do an hour when you're up there.
Yeah.
About an hour.
The trick is to get out of the hotel room so you're not jacking off all day. That's the secret. Otherwise, you're like, why? I mean, you got to like see the city, take something in. That's the other thing is like so many of these clubs when you're starting out, they put you off in some hotel off some highway where you can't walk to shit.
Yeah.
If there's a Denny's, you're like, thank God.
Yes.
So you hit a point where you're like, all right, I'm going to book my own hotels. I'm going to stay downtown where I'm a city kid. I can't drive. I don't have a license. So I have a
you grew up in the city.
I have a license, but like I bullshit my way to the license. I got like I failed the first 2, and the third time I was like, please don't fail me. I'm terrible. And she laughed, and she just kind of basically passed me. I can't drive. Whoever that woman was should be fired. But so I'm a walker on the road. I like to, I was in Toronto on Friday. I was like, that's a great city for me. I can just walk.
Yeah. Plug your podcast.
We might be drunk.
What is it? How did it start?
That started during COVID, actually, because
Yes.
Mark and I were bored out of our minds. So it started on Zoom, and then
And you don't get to see your friends.
Yeah.
so it started as like having a cocktail with your friend. The premise was really like the end of the night when you're like, all right, we should get out of here, and then one of your friends goes, one more drink.
Yeah.
So we originally called it One More Drink, but there was some other podcast with like 5 reviews called One More Drink, and we're like, fuck, I guess we can't. That's kind of a dick move, but. So now we call it We Might Be Drunk, kind of a disclaimer if we ever get in trouble. We might have been drunk.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's a weird thing with comedy. There's like a wellness and health kind of thing going around where like a lot of guys who we started with who drank hard are sober.
Yeah.
And we're like the kind of the last of the Mohicans with the booze.
Yeah.
But we just like booze. I mean, that's the thing. It's like when you're young, Mark and I used to get so fucked up. I remember there'd be like industry parties, and there'd be open bar. We'd be like, oh my God, we don't realize you're there to kind of meet people. Mark and I just look like free alcohol.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Mark and I would be fucking blitzed, probably burning bridges for the next 20 years, not realizing it, walking up to like I'm the head of NBC. Are you?
You make a pass at the CEO's wife. I'm putting like turkey in my pockets, because we were so broke.
I heard you have money now, but you still eat off everyone's plate. Is that true?
Well, it's built in. The cement is dried,
Yeah.
There was no food in my house as a kid, so I'm taking these grapes home. I'm just letting you know now. But, people waste food like crazy also, so I don't want to see it wasted.
Yeah.
You ever go to a party there's a deli plate, no one's touching it? I'm like, somebody paid for this. I feel like I should eat it. It's the right thing to
The
do.
grapes are nice. Did you go out and get these grapes?
Yeah.
Really?
I knew you'd like grapes.
Why?
I don't know.
Interesting.
That's a weird.
You seem like a grape kind of guy because you're like,
Healthy?
you seem like some people, you're Jewish. And I'm Jewish.
I don't know.
We always had grapes.
Really?
Yeah, that's
I
like a
didn't know
sign of
anything.
opulence. In my life, like my family, like we had money and then we were poor, then we didn't have money. And then when you had grapes, that was like, oh shit.
Greek
Hey,
gods
we
would
have
always
money
say that.
again.
Like the salad days.
Yeah. So if my
like
mom
this.
or dad brought grapes, because grapes were expensive.
Really?
So to me, it's a sign of,
It's a nice touch. I've never done a podcast. In our rider, we have like, on the road, how you have like stuff in your contract that needs to be in the green room.
what's in your rider? I love that shit.
Pepto-Bismol.
Okay.
There's the Jewish.
That's the Jew.
Are you
that's
Jewish?
I wish.
Okay.
Mark's been appropriating our culture for quite some time. But Pepto, just like
You
basics.
seem like you might be.
I get that a lot.
I'm sorry I'm cutting you off. Go.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean,
You
it's
yelled at me
boring.
yesterday for
Pepto's
cutting
the
people
interesting
off.
one. The rest of it, I think alcohol. I think I have like some sort of. My agent put some sort of wine in there that I didn't even need, like a natural wine. I do like that natural wine because there's less of a hangover.
Okay.
But then Pepto's the big one because that road diarrhea is real, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Sometimes you got to empty that butt before the set.
Yeah.
It's rough.
What do you guys, is New York dangerous now? Or because I used to live here.
It's great.
According to the news, I mean, statistically it is, yes.
I was on the train the other day, and a guy, you ever just see a pervert, but like he gets on the train, and he's like kind of a chubby guy, and everyone thinks he's gonna whip his dick out because he takes his pants down, but then he just takes his shirt off and starts shaking his fat, and somehow that was worse. Like we're like, oh, just whip out your dick like a normal pervert. Don't make us look at your rolls of fat.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I remember I mentioned a Colin Quinn once, who's like Mr. New York, and he said, I was like, is it as bad as it was back then? He goes, of course not. He goes, now these murders are getting reported. You know?
Yeah.
So
Good point.
that's your answer on that. But it is dangerous, more dangerous than it was. But I don't feel like unsafe.
Do you ever see him doing sets, Colin Quinn?
Yeah, he's a
he's the
legend.
I
best.
used to know him.
He's one of
Really?
the best
Yeah.
ever.
Love him.
He's so fucking funny. I
He's-
used to be the receptionist at SNL,
Oh wow.
Whoa.
and then he got hired. You know, I was there 2 years. So the second year he came in, and the funniest thing that I was a young kid. I was like 21 years old, and I just remember everybody would come to reception and do their bits. You know, like Tracy Morgan would come in and like try stuff.
Wow.
And then Will Ferrell would try. So Will Ferrell would come in character and stuff.
What?
And Colin was the funniest.
Really?
Out of every single person in the cast. Like and the girl that worked with me, she'd be like, "Oh, Colin's the funniest." Like out of everybody, just like so.
People don't realize how great Colin is.
Yeah.
He's
I
so
mean, like,
good.
I mean, people do realize it, but like he is one of the best ever. I mean, he really is.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Great comedy mind, and he keeps up with comedy. He's one of the only guys who will never be out of touch.
Is he still out?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
his
every
new
night.
stuff
Yeah.
is great. He's killer.
This might be. I saw his new hour. I opened for him. I don't know, a month ago, and it was like I was in awe. It was one of the best things I've seen him do. I think this new hour is going to be incredible.
I think he's the best at social commentary of any comedian.
Ooh, that's a good statement.
Because he's, you know what? Because he keeps it real. It's not like
Right.
he's not pandering to either side, but it's so he's so wise. He's just seen it all. Like he's
Yes.
a dude that kind of is like truly a moderate, which is kind of important for comedy right now.
Right.
When everyone is not listening, this dude's kind of like, I'll shit on everybody.
Yeah.
I love that about him. I don't like stand up that gets too self-indulgent. Self-indulgent, self-righteous. I try to remove myself from it until it's as funny as it can be. You know?
Yes.
Why putting yourself in it makes it less funny?
I don't think it's myself in it that makes it less funny, but when you're
Well, you don't want to. You want to still be relatable. So if I go, "What's the deal with fireplaces?"
Yeah.
People go, "I have a fireplace." But if I go, "My fireplace," I feel like I'm losing them. But that's just my own
I
insecurity.
got you.
I mean, yeah, who knows? I just
that makes sense.
I just think like when you have a point or something. The one-man show thing, I've seen it done well, but it makes me nervous because I've also seen it done horribly.
Oh yeah.
And it's a niche thing that it doesn't really interest me, to be honest.
Did it well.
Well, Colin is
Colin,
a prime
yeah.
example of someone who did it really well. But a lot of them I just...
It's a little indulgent.
Yeah.
Also, Collins, we should say, is not always. It's not about him. It's about the government. It's about society.
Right.
It's
There's
about-
a theme.
Yeah, New
so
York.
I don't even really think of it as that one-man showy, but I think once you kind of go for too long without a laugh and you're trying to make a point, it's like, that's not why I got into this. There's something very arrogant about that to me, where like I don't want to get it twisted. Like I got into this, I honed my shit at a Mexican restaurant, telling jokes. Like, who the fuck do I think I am, honestly, to say this shit on stage without making it funny?
Right.
Who has that great quote? I'm gonna butcher this. Maybe you can give it a goog if you got a laptop over there. But it's something like comedy that tries to be important sucks, but comedy that's funny is important, or
that's
something
good.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I've
You nailed
screwed
it.
it up, but it's something like that.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Colin has another thing. I mean, we're talking about Colin so much here, but he really is like one of the godfathers of New York comedy. And I remember he said, "The cool guy." Like, we're not the cool guy. The cool guy that's not comics.
No.
Comedy's not the cool guy. We're not supposed to win, is what he'd always say.
Right.
That's not funny, winning.
That is that generation. But now you see it, guys younger than you.
Very hip.
Yeah.
Swag.
Right?
But can you be hip when you're 41? I would say like a Bill Burr to me is a cool guy, but he's hip, but
Well,
he's
cool
not
'cause
trying to be hip.
He's cool because he's Bill Burr and he's hilarious.
Yeah.
But he's not like a
But that's the goal.
life of the party. He's not Pete. He's not Pete Davidson.
Yeah, Pete Davidson is
He's like a cool guy.
a cool dude, yeah.
And I think Pete Davidson's really funny.
But is he the life of the party? I don't know if life of the party means funny.
Yeah, Pete is also very open about being like, he's mentally ill and
Socially awkward.
yeah.
Right.
So I think if
Right, good
anything,
point.
Pete is pretty self-deprecating.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's an everyman
So-
who made it somehow. That's why you root for him.
I just think there's a lot of swaggy comics out there, and Mark and I always talk about this, but if like you spend more time on your outfit than your jokes. I mean, look, for a special, look good. That's going to get shared. But like, if it's every night, you're color coordinating, looking cool as shit. At a certain point, like Mark and I look like shit right now. I look like I got monkeypox at Coachella. I mean,
I felt so good when you showed up.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I was like, oh man, he doesn't give a fuck.
No.
But
I was so glad. I was like, oh good, this is going to be super chill.
It's nice to look good, but also like,
No, I like that you
a lot
wore
of those
this.
times you see those guys and they put no work into their stand-up, and you're like, you're focusing on the wrong half here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What before I forget, I love Judd Apatow. What was that like when you had him on?
Oh, cool.
What
He's
did you
a
get
comedy encyclopedia.
Yeah, what did you get out of that?
You can just listen. He's got stories. He used to be a fucking busboy at a comedy club.
Yeah,
you know, when
he
was
really did
in
it.
high school or
Was
whatever.
he or was I think his mom was.
His mom worked there. She was the hostess.
Oh, wow.
And he was the busboy. And he saw everybody on Long Island
Yeah,
in the 80s.
And he loves comedy. I mean, Judd is also like been on so many shows. Like he learned from so many people, like Shanlane, and he's got this appreciation for comedy that Mark and I share. And he's also just a warm guy. I remember I was going to a breakup once at the Cellar, and he just told me this long story. It was like an hour story about all the breakups he's had, and they were all hilarious. Like that's the type of dude he is. It was like many years ago. He's just like a warm dude.
I just think his films are like they're so well put together.
Yeah.
What's your
funny.
favorite?
Yeah.
What's that?
What's your favorite?
Fucking, the one with Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl. What is
Knocked
it?
Up.
Knocked Up is my favorite. It's probably my top 5.
Yeah,
movies.
that was
Annie
good.
Hall, Knocked Up, Goodfellas.
Wow. Jeez.
Wow. Fucking Liotta, dude.
I know. I met him
Bummer.
once.
Did you?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
I don't like telling this story because it's embarrassing, but I was writing something, and I was trying to sell it, and they were like, you got to get Ray Liotta to play your dad, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, like whatever. Obviously, they're like, well, who would you want? And I'm like, Ray Liotta, and while it was like trying to be sold, I saw him at a party, and I was with my ex-wife, and we were at the guy who owned, Ralph's, the supermarket.
Yeah.
We were at that guy's mansion for some like
Whoa.
Democratic fundraiser or whatever. And then I don't know what I was thinking. I would never do this now. But my ex-wife was like, go talk to him. Ask him. And I was like, And I was broke, and I was just like, this is fucking nuts, or maybe this would work or whatever. And I went up and I talked to him, and I told him about it. And he was so gracious.
Wow.
He was like, sounds good. Sounds like a fun idea. He's like, get it to my agent. And he was like, and then he's like, yeah. And then he was like, hang out with me, stick by me, talk to me for a while, like that. And I just sat and talked to him. Life of the party.
I love
Everybody.
that.
What's that? Sorry.
I love the idea that the supermarket chain owner has these hip parties.
Yeah, is his name like?
I don't think Sam Walton was hanging out with Paris Hilton.
It wasn't hip. It was just like.
I remember seeing a lot of porn stars at Trader Joe's mansion. It was
Right,
pretty cool.
right. Yeah. You going to Gristides thing later?
Did you like that movie?
What?
Is that a big movie for you?
Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
I mean, yeah, I love Ray Liotta. I was a big Ray Liotta
insane.
fan. One of my favorite performances was this movie called Something Wild, where he just plays a psycho ex-boyfriend. He's hilarious. It's a great movie with Jeff Daniels and Melanie
Wild.
Griffith.
Yeah.
Jonathan Demme directed it. Liotta was a great actor. I mean, he was like Narc was a great movie, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
And
Narc.
he's awesome.
Jason
in that.
Patrick.
Great movie.
Yes.
Great movie. I forgot about that. I need to
What's
watch that
another
again.
another big Liotta one?
He was the mom the dad and Matilda.
That's not what I was thinking.
No. Hold on.
But why didn't he work with Scorsese again?
I don't know.
That I always wondered. Like, he did such a good job. There must have been a riff
Something.
I don't
or
know.
something. Scorsese would have put him even as like even in The Departed. There was 10 great parts in
Copland,
that.
he was great in that one. Copland.
Copland is great.
Was he in that one? Oh, with Joe Pesci. De Niro, Pesci. It was super.
Irishman?
No, it was before that. It was super slow, a little boring.
Look up De Niro.
It kind of went under the radar.
You guys both have dated comedians, right?
Sure.
Have you?
What?
Oh yeah, you did.
Are
Yeah,
you dating
yeah.
a comedian?
Yeah, yeah.
How's that? That seems to be, for me, like I would love to date it. That's probably the most important thing in a woman to me.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody,
agree.
they ask me all the time, they're like, why don't you date anybody? And I'm like, I don't know. There's nobody.
Are you picky?
No.
No, wow, so you can date any female comedian.
Yeah. And I don't even care about looks that much.
All right.
Like I have, if you look at like my ex-wife or my ex-girlfriends and stuff, they all look different.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something else. I don't even care about looks at all. If you look at my ex-wife, she's a fucking.
They're all pigs.
Ugh.
No, they're all pretty.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
all
think,
right.
You know,
So you do care
in
about
their own
looks.
way.
I think we all. Yeah,
But
I
I'm
don't.
saying like, I don't have a type.
Yeah, same. I think funny is important and cool. Oh, just like aware and cool is big. It's
Right.
not just funny, but you know.
Yeah.
But unfunny is tough.
Especially if you're making jokes and they're going, she's like, what? What do you mean by that?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I remember I met a girl and her friend was like, "Oh, she doesn't get humor," and I was like, I've never heard someone say I don't get humor.
That's crazy.
That's the weirdest. It's like, yeah, that's terrible. That's also the weird one is like, people tell me I should be a comedian. You're like, get away from me immediately.
Yeah.
Run.
The fact that you said that means you're not a good comedian.
Run away.
Who are your big actors that you love?
Actors?
Yeah.
Well, geez.
Comics too.
All right. Well, that's a big question there. Actors I like. I used to love Paul Newman. I was a big Paul Newman douche. Just because I liked how good he was. He's so damn handsome. And then he just quit acting to be a race car driver.
Yeah.
That was fun for me. And not to mention the Newman's Own. How cool is that?
Yeah, really cool what he did for the kids, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't love actors as much. I like directors more.
Like who?
Like Quentin Tarantino. I like Scorsese. I like Bernini.
Did you like the last
Roberto.
Quentin movie?
Who?
Did you like the last Quentin movie?
I did. I loved it.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
You not?
No, it was fucking great.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
jeez.
I like how his films, they go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it can be anything, and it really just goes. I had a fucking question.
That was a great movie.
Loved
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
So it's rare to see a great movie. Like, I feel like all the movies that get nominated for Oscars now, like last year, I'm like, they're all fine. But then I saw, Mark told me to see that movie, The Worst Person in the World. I thought that was a great movie.
Great movie.
What's that about?
I love that. It's a Norwegian movie. It's about a woman who, you know, is going through these like chapters of her life dating, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Memorable and great.
Very good. You got to go out to the foreign stuff now because I feel like we're just up our own ass with Hawkeye and Avengers and all this shit. It's like enough's enough.
Yeah, once they gave one to Hawkeye, it's
Yeah.
like, all right, guys, let's settle. It's like giving their documentary to like the 12th guy in the Lakers bench.
Right.
You know, I'll give you Jordan. Do we have
really
to do one for
funny.
everybody?
Yeah, the
It's
water
really funny
guy.
because I watched Hawkeye with my kids.
Is it good?
You're definitely watching it like, okay, we're stretched out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Morbius.
I can't get into him.
But here's something I wanted to talk to you about. Okay, so this is a thought I had the other day. So like John Mulaney, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe like 4 years ago, my son, he's like, fucking John Mulaney, he's the fucking the best. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I gotta watch it. I watched his specials. I think he's great, whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that he went to rehab, then I was like suddenly like, all I could do was look at John Mulaney. Like, so for the last month or so, I just watch everything, every podcast John
Interesting.
Mulaney's on. And I don't know what that is.
Oh, I know what it is. I
Tell
mean,
me.
like when something bad happens to someone, we become obsessed. That's like the American way too. Is like think about what it does to people's music when they die.
Right.
Tom Petty dies, you throw on Tom Petty, you know?
Yeah.
When someone's going through some shit, you kind of want to understand it a little more, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Mulaney's a brilliant comedian.
Brilliant.
And
Great comic.
someone we've always, Mark and I talk about looking up to. And
But it's true. You're right. Like Stormy Daniels was in the news, and I watched her porn. I'd never seen it before that. But once you see her on the news, you're like, wow, I get to see her naked getting plowed. I'm going to watch it.
I tried to. It wasn't very good.
You didn't, what, the porn?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I thought it was
You a fan?
2 thumbs up. Yeah.
Same thing.
I wrote a good comment.
Same thing with Chappelle, too. When I have like, you just have this love for him for what he went through with Comedy Central, and he kind of walked
Right,
away.
right.
any story. Like, you guys, that's what you guys need to do, I guess, or what I need to do.
Yeah, it's true.
Tell
Like,
some-
Mark and I walked away from Comedy Central. We didn't come close to 50 million.
No.
But we did walk away.
yeah,
Right.
They walked away from us.
I think they just melted. I think it's just, it's so weird. Comedy Central was like the biggest voice in comedy, and now it's like you turn it on, you're like, oh, cool, Talladega Nights is on.
Right, again.
Prime time.
The Office.
The Office,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
like, yeah. I saw Big Bang Theory, and I'm like, wow, that's
Really?
that's your Hawkeye. You're stretching it thin with the reruns.
Yikes, I didn't know that.
Guys, just a quick word about my new website, Nash Nation, thenashnation.com, where you can get exclusive content produced by myself and Ferris and Jess. We're working really hard over there. When you sign up for Nash Nation, you'll get the All Good Things podcast a week early. Pretty cool. You'll also get bonus episodes up there. Right now, we have 5 podcasts up on Nash Nation that are just waiting for you guys to go watch. You also get early access to the next roast, which will be sometime in October. So if you want to support this podcast and support all the things that we're doing here, go sign up for Nash Nation today. You will not regret it. It's thenashnation.com.
You got something there with the Mulaney rehab thing. Like Bill Burr, as I mentioned before, good comedian, great comedian, but he popped after that Philly rant. That's what popped him. Jim Jeffries, a guy came on stage and punched him, and then he broke.
You know who that guy was?
Right.
Will Smith. Will Smith is everywhere.
So there you go.
Yeah, I
It's
like
crazy. It's crazy. Mark is right. Like, you do need, as great as you are in this business, you do need like a little luck. And
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, but is it luck? Because the reason Bill handled that moment
True.
so well is because of all the, I guess the situation was weirdly lucky, but Bill had the tools to handle it.
He was a sports fan,
Yep. And he can just rant.
and he can
riff.
rant. And he knew everything about Philly, what a shithole it was. And
Right,
Yeah.
right. He had that locked and loaded in his back pocket.
not that it's a shithole, but
He knew all
you
the,
could
the
easily-
flaws.
I've
He
been
was the
great.
one-
I love going to Philly.
yeah, I've been
do
too.
too.
It's great.
I mean, like one of the best comedy towns for sure.
Do you both like sports?
I do.
I'm more of a boxing MMA guy.
Oh, yeah?
I like that stuff.
Oh, hell
I like
yeah.
the one-on-one. I'd rather watch tennis than football.
You ever go to the fights?
I've been to a few, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the same. I'd rather watch it on TV because I'm like looking through that cage. I can't see everything.
Yeah.
I want to see the play-by-play.
Who do you like? Who's your...
I like all the UFC guys. I mean, we can go deep down in. I like Gagey and Tony Ferguson and the Diaz guys are fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun because it's like it's such an insane event. 2 guys are gonna fist fight and try to knock each other out for our entertainment.
Yeah.
And then they get money for it. It's insane. The whole thing is insane. And like, you ever been in a fight? You know how crazy it is, and you know that feeling you get, and it's the last thing you want to do on the planet is get into a bar fight with this guy, and they just do that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like stand-up. People go, the last thing I want to do is stand in front of people and try to be funny. Are you nuts? And we do that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's some kind of weird connection, like the scariest thing in the world these guys are doing.
Yeah.
Most people would avoid a fight at any cost.
It is
These
the
guys are going
funniest-
towards it.
It is the funniest when people say like, "Oh my God, that's the bravest thing doing stand up," and I'm like, "What do you do? The Marine?" I'm like, "All right,
Yeah, that is
maybe
weird.
let's keep this in perspective a little bit. We tell jokes into a mic, like nothing bad really. If you bomb, you bomb, but
It's an ego crush, but that's
Yeah.
about it.
you
guys-
get over that."
Do you guys take acting jobs? If someone came to you right now and they like, here, or no, do
Sure.
you like that? You were in
Yeah.
Joker, right?
Yeah, but as a comic, people are like, "You're an actor." I'm like, "As a comic." I
Right.
played Sam Morril in the DC universe. Like it's not like a real stretch. I guess it wasn't technically me because the movie takes place in the '80s, but you know what I mean. It's me.
Right.
So you, you don't.
How many times you do it?
How many takes?
Yeah.
15 or 20, and I did different bits each time because for me it's like they were extras in the crowd. I didn't want them to have to fake laugh. I'm like, I want real laughs.
Right.
So I did the same. I did a different set each time. I remember one of them bombed. All of them killed except one.
Right.
And Todd Phillips is fucking cool. He's a really cool guy.
Is he?
And, yeah, he's really supportive and he likes comedy. And
That's cool.
Yeah, he's very cool. One time, as comics, we're usually like, we get a light to tell us when to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And they would do that on Joker because they're following Joker during my scene. And then they're like, all right, like get off, and I'm just like, all right, I'm wrapping this up. I'm wasting union time because I'm like, let me finish this fisting bit. Hold on one second.
Right.
And so one time they're like, dude, get off. I'm like, all right, sorry, I fucked up, but
He gets it, though. He's like a savant, that guy. I mean, he came out of the gate with 3 banger comedies. The Hangover.
Yep.
Road Trip was
Road
the
Trip.
first. Yeah.
That was great. Then he had Old School. Come on.
He made a cool documentary too about frat house in New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah, that I saw. I remember my friend showed it to me. He had a partner, and we knew the partner because the partner wrote jokes for Norm for Weekend Update.
What?
And it's like it's Todd Phillips getting hazed for like an hour and a half.
What?
Yeah, and he goes, he's in it. It's interesting. I don't know if you can get it.
I wonder
if it's out.
I know Ivan Reitman discovered him.
Really?
Yeah, Ivan Reitman. I don't know.
I think he discovered
this might have
that
been this
movie.
documentary.
Just
yeah,
look.
Whoa.
And he was like, this kid's going to be something special, and he's,
Wow.
Look up
Give
Todd
that. I think
Phillips.
Ray Liotta's in it.
Todd Phillips hazing documentary.
Oh, that's incredible. I had no idea he made that. I love any origin story of a famous person, how they made it, because everybody's got to start at the bottom, and I love how everybody has a different path.
I love that. Kurt Cobain's story is the best.
Crazy.
what is it?
He was a janitor. Okay, no, he went to high school, was totally trashed, and then the next year, the only job he can get is janitor at that high school. So the kids walk around, fucking make fun of him, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then, which made him like even mentally worse, and more pissed off. It's a pretty good origin
I saw
story.
the documentary on him, and they interviewed the woman he dumped for Courtney Love, I think.
Yes.
From his hometown, and they were like, how do you feel about all that? And it's like, how do you think she feels? Fucking bad. Oh, he dumped me in Buffalo, wherever the fuck he's from.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah.
And was Buffalo. I'm sorry, I don't know how I was just trying to paint a sad picture here. And
That's one of the best docs. Montage of heck.
I didn't love it.
Really?
I didn't love the animation, and then honestly, just maybe there's just me, but the footage of them being on drugs with the crying baby, I'm like, I can't watch this shit. It was just upsetting me too much.
It is a little upsetting. I can't watch Euphoria.
I've never seen it. Mark likes it.
It's good.
I hear it's a
really
great
good.
show, but it's like kids fucking on drugs, right?
That's what I like.
I mean, that's what I jerk off to. I can't watch a show about it.
Exactly.
We made the same. Made the same.
It is weird because Euphoria is kind of like comedy where if you go, you can't make racist jokes anymore. But if you make a guy in the joke racist, he can say the joke and it gets a laugh.
Yeah.
And then you get a laugh. You see what I'm saying? And Euphoria is like, well, you want to watch kids fuck, but if you make kids fuck kids, it's okay. It's like these weird avenues that you can take to not get in trouble.
Yeah, there's gonna be like woke Klansmen who are like, so I was talking to this racist guy the other day.
Right.
Boy, was he racist. Had some good ideas too. Wasn't me though.
Yeah.
I love when you talk about Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah. I'm a fan. Yeah, he's great. He's fun. He's still doing it. Talk about a guy who loves comedy.
Have you done shows with him ever?
Yeah, I opened for him a few times at the Beacon.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
How was that?
It was stressful.
Was it?
I mean, it was a dream come true, but
No clock.
no clock. He's very meticulous. He has a way about him. He has a way he likes his show to go, and
What does that mean, no clock?
Like you don't know when it's gonna. Like usually there's a timer or someone lights you to wrap it up. He just wants you to. Mark, well, you explain it.
he just wants you to know when you're done. 15 minutes, and of course, you don't want to go long. You don't want to go short. So you just have to like eyeball it.
Right.
And I went a little short one night just out of fear, and it fucked up the show. So not only, I'm working with this hero of mine who I used to watch when I was younger and with my family and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm here. I made it after all these open mics, the road, all this shit. Finally made it to the mountaintop, and I fucked it up. So it was a bummer.
You guys are still.
Oh, yeah, we're cool.
Well, how's that fuck it up? It's just a minute or two.
Well, hey, talk to him. He's a perfectionist.
Got it.
But great guy, nice guy, funny guy, still doing it.
Not to knock Seinfeld, but like get a clock.
I agree.
Why can't you get a clock?
I think it's subconsciously like some kind of test. And I failed.
Yeah.
But that was the first show.
He was
other
filming the
three-
show. It's called Frat House.
Yeah. The other three were great.
Yeah.
The only thing I can compare a test I had is when I auditioned for SNL. That felt like a weird test.
And
You
so you
did?
auditioned for Lorne.
Yeah.
How was
What?
it?
Horrifying.
What year?
Same year Fallon auditioned. So
95?
I want to say like 90. Let's see, I worked there 95, 96. No, I worked there 94, 95, 95, 96. Probably the next year I was back to audition.
Wait, you went from reception to audition?
No, I left, and then I went back to audition.
That's an interesting
I think
story.
I maybe spent 1 or 2 years doing stand-up or doing characters around at New York, Lower East Side shit, and then I got
Lounge and all that shit.
Yeah, Luna Lounge.
Luna Lounge,
cool.
yeah.
I did?
Oh,
So it was the same year, because I remember...
were you like, he's going to get it?
Yeah.
This guy's got
What about-
I walked out, and I
Did
watched...
you watch his set?
No, but I saw him walk out, and they were just like... They were into
And
it.
did he have a vibe about him that you were like, oh shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's cute. He's likable.
No, actually, I didn't have a vibe about him because I never saw him before, and I hadn't seen him do stand up because there was no internet or anything. But you could just see he was like, he looked like a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
But yeah, that was nerve wracking. Did you ever audition for it?
No, that's not my cup of
No,
jizz.
it's not your thing.
too
I think
weird.
the only thing Mark and I could do on that show is Weekend Update.
Yeah,
that would be a
That's-
dream.
That's the only thing we would be able to
you'd be
do.
surprised. Just a sketch. They put a wig on you and you read the fucking cue
That's
cards.
true. I've seen the show.
Like it's pretty. It's amazing they do it.
It is
Like,
every
you just
week.
fucking go out there and you just read.
Yeah, good point.
There's no way to fuck it up. Like what you do is so much harder. Remembering your jokes and your tags.
Good point. I mean,
Yeah, but
you
we
could
could-
fuck it up.
we
Tell
could
that to
fuck
Sinead
up.
O'Connor.
Well, you could fuck up your stand up and you're fine, you know?
Right.
That's true. You can save it. Like I just did this panel. I just got back from London 2 days ago. I'm all wonky. But we did this panel show, and it was so cheesy. And the things that are funny about you, they don't let you do. Like if a joke bombs, you want to joke about how it bombed, but they're like, "Don't mention it bombing. This is TV." And you're like, "But that's funny."
Right.
And they're like, "But we don't want that." I'm like, "But it's a comedy show." And they just
do it anyway?
I did it anyway, and it got a laugh in the room, but I doubt they'll put it in the video or in the TV show.
I love that story you tell about, you're walking down the street and you saw a group of black guys and then they ended up saving you.
That was in Brooklyn.
That's a great fucking
Oh,
story.
yeah, it's a-
True story.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Can you tell it?
I asked Quinn about that because he's like a New York guy. He's a Brooklyn guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, those were drug dealers, and they didn't want
Tell
cops
the story,
to come.
tell the
Okay,
story.
so did a bunch of sets in New York. It's 3 a.m. I had no money, so I had to get on the train to go home. I lived in Crown Heights, which is way out, and I had work at 9 a.m. Whatever. But I was shit faced. I get out of the subway, and the subway at night it goes all over. It's like it doesn't take the same route it usually does. You know, it's like today we're going this way, and we're going to skip that, and we're going to go express. So I got out like 5 stops past mine, and I wasn't going to transfer. I'm like, fuck it, I'll walk it. It's probably like a half-hour walk, but it's better than waiting for the train. I'm shit faced. I got earbuds in. I stand out. I'm like howdy doody out there, you know. And I'm in this horrible neighborhood, and I see 5 guys on the corner like shooting dice out of a movie. Drinking 40s, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I go, I'm just going to walk across the street and just walk past them. And this older guy is coming towards me. I'm talking gray beard, older guy, probably 60-something. And he gets in front of me, and this is the old iPod. And he goes, give me that radio. And he's like not letting me by. And I was so drunk, I was like, it's not a radio. Because I was proud to have an MP3 player.
Yeah.
And he was like, give it to me. And I'm like, no. And he pulls the wire, like the cord, and I'm pulling it back. And then he just picks me up.
It's like an ad for AirPods.
Yeah. He picks me up, and he just turns me around and starts slamming me against the wall. You know that when the business closes, they put the metal gate down?
Yeah.
And it's just like, pow,
Okay.
pow. Yeah, and I'm like punching him, and my legs it's like out of a movie. And this guy, I think he was on PCP, he was jacked up. And I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. And these guys run over, pull him off me, and just beat the shit out of him. I mean, kicking him on the face, full soccer kicks. And I'm just like, thank you. I didn't know what was going on. And I also kind of felt for the guy. And I just
Right.
grabbed my iPod and said thanks and ran home.
Damn.
So, yeah, I talked to Colin Quinn. He was like, those were drug dealers. They had to stop him because they couldn't have the cops coming. So they had to make a choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that
so
interesting?
Thank God for drugs.
That's why we shouldn't legalize drugs.
Aha. Good point.
Dealers, a little white knight action there for
Yeah.
you.
They protected this whitey.
Can I pee?
Sure.
Can I just
An
pee
hour and
one more
18.
time? Let me pee and then we'll
Go pee.
Yeah, I can keep
I feel like hard-ass dads that make funny people.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Yeah, he was terrifying.
Mine too.
Yeah.
fucking terrifying and cool and athletic.
Yeah.
And my father, we're cutting in here, but my father, he was 6'3".
Oh, jeez.
Fucking-
This isn't in it.
What?
This is interesting.
Oh yeah, this isn't in
He
the
won't hear
episode?
this.
No, he can hear it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he knows.
Uh,
He knows. No, it's cool now, but he was just like a big guy. We were saying that, like, if you have like a kind of a badass father, or maybe like a masculine, tough father, it creates a good comedian. Do you feel that way?
Not in my case. I mean, my dad. Not that he's not like man, but he's not like a type
Right.
of guy. He's super smart.
Mine was.
yeah, my
Yours
dad,
too, right?
Military, old school. He had a rough childhood, so he would just flip. I saw him chew out waiters. I saw him chew out people at restaurants.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm not into that. I'm just like, and I think that's why I'm so scared of confrontation now, is because of that shit. It
Right.
You are kind of scared of confrontation.
terrified, hate it.
Yeah.
And I can get through it as like a sane person where you're like, this is no big deal, relax, it'll be over soon. But it still has that immediate childhood thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And man, I saw him chew out a guy at Popeyes once. It was fucking brutal. He's like, my son is hungry. Where's my fucking food? I was like, Dad, it's okay. We're the only white people in there. I'm like, shut the fuck up. We look like assholes. He's in a suit.
My son is hungry.
He would use that all the time. My son, I'm like, I'm good. Don't worry about me.
Hey, don't throw this on me.
Was he poor? Were you poor?
No, we were middle class,
Oh, yeah.
but he grew up really poor. He grew up on a farm, the whole thing. It was weird, but he just had a temper. And now what's weird is he's on antidepressants, and he's like a 72-year-old guy. So he's
Yeah.
like, how are you? Good to see. And I'm like, who the fuck's this guy?
Mine too.
Total 180.
Mine too.
So I'm still like flinching every now and then, but he's just trying to get a hug.
Yeah, when I was like 21 years old, my car broke down in his old neighborhood in Boston, and I brought the car in, and the guy goes, "Oh, are you Bob Nash's son?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh my God, your father, he's the greatest guy, so much fun. Life of
Whitey
the
Bulger.
party, the funniest guy, the best guy." And I was like, "My dad? Really? Not fun at all."
Yeah.
So funny.
my dad is super. He's not like that, like aggressive. He's super intelligent and not like. But then my biological dad on the other side is like, who lives right by here, is the opposite. Like he's that Buddhist beads now. Like keep out bad energy. That you expect the bead to fall off his wrist and jump out the fucking window.
Right.
But
Keep out bad energy and sun. Keep them both out.
But no, my dad is super like just like literally. He's so well read and intelligent that he thinks that like I'm like, so he'll be like, read this book. I'm like, it's like 4,000 pages, Dad. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's how he is. He's super smart.
Who are you closer with, the stepdad or the dad?
Oh, obviously the dad who raised me. He's I guess technically my stepdad, but I call him Dad.
Right.
The biological dad I don't even speak to anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
So
But I
interesting.
used to have to dodge him on the street. But ever since COVID, he doesn't go out much, and I'm like, whew,
Oh, is that
thank
right?
God. Well, he's old.
I didn't know you were dodging him on the street. That's hilarious.
That's really interesting.
So funny. People are like, what was that guy you're running from? My dad.
Well, I used to see him at the rec center because I would go there to swim laps, and he would go there for like PT.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, well, so I'd just be like, oh, hey.
Whoa, that's so
You
weird. You
know?
guys ended up in the same hood.
And he knew you. He knows who you are.
Yeah, I've met him a few times. I've been to his apartment. I know him a little bit, but then my dad is such a good dad. So like, why
Right.
would I even keep this other guy around? You know?
So you still talk to your dad?
Oh yeah, we're cool. I mean, he's not the easiest guy to chat with.
Does he come see you?
What do you mean, on stage?
Yeah.
Nah.
He's seen you.
He has, but he's not like, we gotta go see Mark. But what him and my mom do, which is adorable, is anytime comedy is mentioned in a magazine, a book, whatever, a newspaper, they will circle it and send it to me. And I'm like, well, I'd rather you talk to me. But I get it. It's their way of showing like, hey, we know you like comedy, so here's 38 magazines.
My folks would do that too. They'll be like, you have to read this. And they're like, it's about some comic I don't even like. But they're like, it's comedy though.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's literally like, it's funny. This is how my parents are in New York. That I remember like I do Conan or something. They'd be like, oh, okay. But then I remember I was mentioned once in the New York Times and my dad was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
the New York
right.
Times. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, they said I was unfunny in it. They didn't say, but he's like, I know, but it's the Times, you know? So it's like, that's how they're a real New York, like classic. I mean, Manhattan is like all about the Times and then, you know.
Sure.
Right.
But yeah, that was to them super impressive. I get the books or the articles.
Yep.
You have to watch this documentary. It's like, I'm comedied out. I don't want to watch any. It's hard for me to watch specials. Like, it's very hard for me because first off, I don't want to hear a bit that I could maybe have gone a different way with and then feel like I shouldn't it kind of closes off premises for you. It also, I just am sick of it. I'm just sick of it, kind of. Like, I love it, and I don't want it to feel like homework. And sometimes, like,
you've reached the point where, you've paid your dues and you go do your set and you work on your jokes. That's all you have to do.
But if I'm following someone, like I'm following Sheng Wang the other night, a hilarious comic from LA, and I was like, I'll watch Sheng. I haven't seen him in so long, and I enjoy that. I enjoy it if I'm there, but like sitting down and watching a special is hard for me. I want something, nothing. People will be like, watch this comedy. I want drama or tragedy if I'm watching at home, or sports. That's like what I'll watch. But
yeah. How about this one from the parents? 2 days ago, my dad goes, "Did you hear about Chris Rock and Will Smith?" I'm like, Jesus Christ. You think I didn't hear about that? Like, how out to lunch do you think I am here, Dad? But he just heard about it, so he thinks it
in
just
2 weeks
happened.
he's like, Harvey Weinstein?
Right.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, exactly. Did you hear about Freddie Prinze? He shot himself. Like, yeah, Dad, that's crazy. That was 1979.
Yeah, it's but they're taking an interest, and I appreciate that.
Yes.
It's very cool that they do that.
How bad do you want to sit down and talk to your mom about comedy anyway?
Right.
My mom is very cool with like movies. She'll have like great takes. Like, she's very thoughtful with any like movie or anything like that,
like
or
what?
a book. No, she'll just have like she'll be like, "What do you think this meant?" She'll just say things in a way that I'm like, I like people like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. All right.
I like my mom. That was a weird.
Yeah, I
like my mom. She's cool. I don't know.
I like his mom,
That
too.
was a weird.
Good mom. I got a good mom, too. They
to have a
say
good mom.
The comedian pattern is distant father, a doting mother.
That's me.
There
my
you go.
my
Yeah,
dad,
comedian,
who raised
but-
me, was a workaholic, and he's still working.
Oh, yeah?
He's like getting older, and he basically was pushed into retirement and started his own company. Like, he's a machine. He doesn't stop.
Really?
Whereas, my mom was very protective. I'm her only biological son, so she was it's like worries to the point of insanity. Like, guess what, Mom? If I don't floss tonight, it's going to be okay.
Right.
Like, if that's the only like, if you only knew what was really going on, you know what I mean? You're worried about flossing.
Right.
We're going to make it.
Right, exactly.
Would you do a curb?
Hell yeah.
Of course.
That would
Yeah.
be cool.
That's
Of
more
course.
what I would want to do. Is
Yeah,
make
well,
a
that's like
I
our
should do
wheelhouse.
it.
That's just riffing. That's
Right.
like
Right.
not riffing, improvising, I guess. But like that's super fun. That type of show. We love Larry David.
Oh yeah.
Me too.
He's
Big fan.
You ever see him in person?
He did. I fucking missed Amy Schumer's wedding because I was filming a dumb show I couldn't get out of, and I regret it to this day.
Larry David was at Amy Schumer's wedding.
Yeah.
No shit. That's cool.
I got to see him in line waiting to get in because you had to wait to like get your car valeted or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was fighting. I was behind him in my car, and he watched him fight with the valet guy. And I was like, all I could hear was ba ba da ba da. I could just see a silhouette of him like, what the hell, doing this shit. I was like,
Jeff runs over. What the fuck?
yeah.
What the fuck?
And Susie comes in, you fucking asshole. Yeah, it was great.
I have a similar story. I saw
Oh,
him.
yeah?
I saw him. My ex-wife used to take me to the Emmys, and we went one year, and I went as her date, and I saw him come out of the bathroom, and he ran right into Ted Danson. Ted Danson stuck his hand out, and he went to shake his hand, and Larry goes, "Can't shake your hand. Can't shake your hand." And he goes, "Why not, Larry? Why can't you shake my hand?" And he goes, "Not dry yet. Not dry yet. I'm doing a new thing, letting it dry in." And he's like, "Oh, come on, Larry, that's crazy." It was Ted Danson who's in the show.
Oh,
and I
that's
was
amazing. It's the
wow.
show. You're watching a
I couldn't
live
fucking believe
version.
it. Like, I was like, dude, that's a scene.
That's amazing. Yeah, Seinfeld said that he's the only guy he's never seen success change. Everybody changes a little, but he's like, Larry, there is zero change. He's the exact same guy he was in 1978.
All right, guys, go check out their podcast. We Might Be Drunk. Go check them out. Go see them live.
Yes.
They are fucking hilarious. These are real comedians.
We're hitting your city. We're
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
If you have a city, we will be there at some point.
Go to your sammorril.com. Is that where they can see
Yeah.
it?
Samuel.com/shows. Yeah.
I'm cutting you off. Go.
Oh, it's just my name.com/shows.
MarkNormanComedy.com.
Great. Go see them live. Support live comedy. And we'll see you next time.
Comedy.